This is Fantology.
You may have heard of us.
All right, what's up, residents of Hell's Kitchen? This is Steven, your host with Fantology Podcast. I have my lifelong friends Ryan and Jake here with me, and we're talking about Daredevil, Born Again, season one, I guess, through episodes three at this point. So less than halfway through the season. I think we're doing 9 episodes for this season, and I'm pretty sure they're doing at least 2 seasons. But let's just kind of talk about our impressions. Thus far, we are pretty big fans of the Daredevil TV show on Netflix that came out in the 2010s. And after several years, like we're finally getting the Daredevil that we know. We're not even counting She-Hulk as a real thing at this point. But what are your guys' thoughts on what we've seen so far through these 3 episodes?
I've liked it
Uh,
as somebody who watched Daredevil on Netflix, and like you said, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And I can't say I've watched pretty much any other Marvel TV show since, so like on Disney Plus. So I'm pretty happy with what I'm seeing. Although um, I feel like one of the strong points of the original Daredevil series was the action, like the choreographed action, and we haven't really seen very much of that. So it's kind of early to tell whether it's going to be, maintain that high point for me.
There's been 2 scenes, would you say, of like major action so far?
Yeah, yeah, two scenes.
yeah, I'm not uh like a scene breakdown expert when it comes to that, but so I don't know why it didn't feel the same, but it did. Yeah, they didn't feel quite the same quality of fight scenes as the best we've seen in the Netflix series. But they're still good though. It wasn't. I didn't think they were bad.
I mean, I felt like that first scene to open, well, it was what, 10 minutes through the first episode or so. It went on for a bit, and it was pretty good, pretty
I
involved.
remember thinking it was like overall, I remember thinking just these episodes are better than I expected from hearing about how Disney almost ruined bringing Daredevil back. So better than that. I don't think it's quite as good as the high points of the Marvel series yet. Um, that first scene, I thought like it was intense, and they had that suspension or suspense going for it. I was a little like put off by some of the CGI. It's like I don't know. There's like I feel like there's a Disney Marvel effect going on a little bit. I don't know if it's just with like the cinematography or what, but like I don't know. We didn't really have a CGI budget in Daredevil on
Mm.
Netflix,
It
and so
felt like
maybe
they were
it's just
trying to
different
do more cool stuff with the camera work than with the fighting in the
with the
first scene.
choreography. Yeah, maybe that was it. Um, but but yeah, I'm like pretty hopeful for this season. All right, now I'm thinking it won't be as man, I haven't seen the Marvel series in so long. I think I liked season two the most. I don't know if it's going to be as good as the best of the Marvel Daredevil series, but it seems to be um like good enough to be like as a continuation so far, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a while since we watched or since I've watched Daredevil. I don't know if you guys rewatched it at all since, but I mean, when I think back to it, I remember the fight scenes, obviously Daredevil being a cool character, the Daredevil Fisk rivalry and all of that drama being really top tier. And then also like Foggy and Karen and like just kind of like the heart of the show. But as far as like any major plot points or things like that, like pretty fuzzy stuff. Obviously Punisher was involved and the Defenders was a thing for a little bit that kind of came and went, and Elektra was
Yeah.
and Stick, and like so I kind of remember like the beats, but I push to come to shove, I'm not really gonna remember much of what actually happened. That said, like I feel like through 3 episodes, this show has captured the vibe and like the feel of the show that I remember, and it's got the same kind of beats to it. And so I'm really liking it. I thought the first two episodes were really strong, and then the third episode yesterday was like pretty good for a procedural drama episode mostly. And it kind of had some like Batman Gotham City vibes to it, even like when they're trying to get the witness to
Yeah,
get across the city, and then he turns
yeah,
against them and the cops are corrupt, and like I don't know, it's got like the right feel to it through the
yeah,
three episodes.
yeah. I'd say the vibes are pretty spot on. But yeah, I'm hopeful it'll be. I don't. It hasn't felt. It feels like a little different still. I can't quite put my finger on it why. But but it hasn't felt different enough in a bad way where I'm like, okay, I'm just sticking to my Netflix continuity. Like I'm excited for the story to continue.
So I think that, Disney made the right call bringing back these characters. Um, my question is, so obviously Foggy is gone because he died in the first episode.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is Karen gonna be gone for the rest of the season too? Because it seems a little shallow of a decision to bring back a lot of the cast from the original series and then immediately write off two of them within like the first part of
Seems
the
like they
first
just kind of
episode.
bridged our favorite characters, right?
Yeah.
I am also under this same uh questioning because I mean, I'm not an expert on the timeline here, but I'm pretty sure it was like, hey, we're doing our own Daredevil series and we're using the same Matt Murdock actor. I can't remember his name, Charlie
Charlie Cox, is that
Cox.
his name?
Yes. And everyone was like, cool. But then as like things were more revealed, it's like, oh, they're not bringing back anyone else, and it's going to be its own story, completely different. And then me and everyone I agreed with on the internet was like, this is pretty dumb. Like this is like I'm no longer interested in this Daredevil show. But then they're like, wait, scratch all that. We're actually just doing a continuation of the Netflix show and we're bringing back like I feel like one by one you saw, oh, they're bringing back Karen. And then for a minute it was like, are they bringing back Foggy? And then I remember like thinking like seeing something like, oh, they are bringing back Foggy. So it's going to be like a huge reunion. And like I'm pretty sure John Bernthal is cast in this season. So I was like, okay, we're back. Everybody's back.
I mean, makes
And
sense after the end of episode three, right?
yeah, I don't think that is him, but yeah.
You think it's a what's the word?
Well, all
Like a
those
copycat?
yeah, all those corrupt cops had Punisher tattoos. So
Mm.
I think it's something. But anyways, I'm a little disappointed to be so excited to have these people back just to like, okay, Foggy's for sure never coming back. At first, I was like, after watching the first episode, I remember thinking like, oh man, like I wonder how he felt like everyone's brought back, including him, but just for one episode. But then seeing what happened with Karen, I'm like, wait, is everybody just brought back for one episode, one or two episodes? I don't know. I would be
Well,
disappointed if they don't continue that.
at least Wilson Fisk is the same, and
Yeah.
he's proving to be or not proving, but probably going to be the major antagonist of the first season.
Oh, for sure. It just feels like they had brought Wilson Fisk back in the Hawkeye show, which you didn't watch, Ryan, but he's
Oh,
in
And
that.
okay.
and Echo.
Um and Echo, which I couldn't get into. So I feel like they had already like they're like, okay, we like is it D'Onofrio? Is that his last name? We like
I
him.
never know how to
Vincent
say
D'Onofrio,
it.
I think.
Didn't know.
Um,
Yeah, sounds good enough.
seemed like okay, he's a bit he has enough star presence and power. We like him. We're bringing him regardless of continuity. And then the same with Charlie Cox. Like okay, we'll do this. And then I thought they're like okay, no, we're bringing everybody back. But now it seems more like we are bringing these two back because they are more heavy hitters, and everyone else is kind of chump change. I do feel like John Bernthal is going to have a longer lasting role. I think he's too good of a character and actor to not do that, but I guess we'll see. I'm I'm sad about Foggy, and I really hope they use Karen more. That's my
Yeah.
thoughts of that. I'm pretty
You know,
conflicted.
now that you brought up the other shows, I know that Charlie Cox was in She-Hulk a little bit. Wasn't
No,
he?
I said in the intro that did not that didn't
Oh,
happen. That
I
was
think
oh,
that's
okay.
been wiped from continuity, honestly. I think it really has.
Well,
but did you watch it, right?
I didn't watch it.
It's
I
so
mean,
bad. So bad.
yeah,
So bad, yeah.
it's funny because I feel like the Charlie Cox Daredevil has the type of reputation that people give Taylor Swift crap for. You know, he just goes from lover to lover to lover, right? He's in the first few seasons he loved Elektra and oh man, what
Well,
was
Elektra was an old flame coming back.
okay,
So
well, what was the nurse that would always stitch him up? What was her name?
Rosario Dawson.
Yeah, that's the actress. Yeah, Rosario Dawson,
Yeah.
She-Hulk. Did he ever have a thing with Karen?
Yeah, he had a thing with Karen.
Okay, there's Karen. Now there's the therapist. Like,
I feel like it's felt pretty natural. I don't know. I feel like it's pretty natural.
okay,
The
well,
She-Hulk, does he have a romance with She-Hulk? I
Yeah,
didn't.
it's so bad.
Oh my. I That's another show like I watched. I tried to be like I'm not gonna hate it just
I
because everyone's
only
hating
watched
it,
it
but
because I heard Daredevil was going to be in it, and I wish I hadn't watched it.
yeah. Well, ugh. I remember seeing his costume from ads. I'm like, his costume does not look good in that show. They
No,
did not nail it.
so
Um,
bad.
he was also in No Way Home, so that's cool.
Yeah, just really
Little cameo there.
briefly, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like one scene. Um,
I mean, speaking of the therapist character and just kind of like side characters in general, like the side characters are not fleshed out like hardly at all. And part of it's because the characters that they could have used as the side characters they just got rid of right away, which I
yeah.
mean, like makes sense to establish a bit of a conflict right away. And I thought the first episode was pretty strong, but then I don't know, you have to have like a replacement almost. Like you gotta have someone to kind of fill this void of like Daredevil's support system. And right now it's his lawyer that has the practice with him and the therapist girlfriend that I don't know her name, can't remember.
She
Like,
seems very expendable. Like she's
yeah,
not surviving the season. Expendable to me.
yeah. I mean, there hasn't been, and his like his couple buddies who are like the strong arms of the law practice. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, we're missing this. We're missing the Foggy and Karen roles like pretty badly so far.
I think it is going to rely a lot on just Daredevil and Fisk, like their chemistry, and the tension
Mm,
between them. Which again kind of goes back to like I feel like I was kind of misled by hearing all these people are coming back and then really it's
yeah.
just the people we knew were already going to be in it.
No, you're right. I mean, it is weird because that was a big deal when they were first doing it. Foggy and Karen were not going to be in it, and then they like scrapped the whole thing and got
Yeah,
new writers or whatever. And now we've
brought him
gone
back.
and now we've brought him back, and then they're gone after one episode.
Yeah.
And Karen left under like really weird pretenses too. She's just like, I can't handle it. I don't want to talk to you. Like, it just seemed really weird that she was just gone.
if that was how she was written out, it was really weak.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
shouldn't be how she's written out. It's fine to have this be tension between them right now, but like that's what
Yeah.
I'm like, they've got to bring her back for more. Which if they do, then I feel even worse for the Foggy actor of like, okay, we're bringing you back. First 10 minutes, you
You
die.
die.
Speaking of side characters, did you notice that his ex-DA, now current law partner, is um, Audi Mark's potential, like little will they, won't they uh,
Who?
love interest in season one of Severance?
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah.
She's the
Right.
midwife.
Oh.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. That's where she's from. Nice.
She has a very like a memorable face, I feel like.
She
Yeah.
she, she looked familiar. I just figured she was in like the previous seasons of Daredevil.
She honestly, it's been so long, she may have, I don't know. But I do know her from Severance.
Nice.
Tie
So
into our last episode.
I think that that Vincent D'Onofrio and Charlie Cox have shown good chemistry though in the first
Yeah.
episode they interact a couple of
Yeah.
times, and I think that there's promise there, like with their like veiled threats and them meeting in the that like little diner. It was kind of a cool scene.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I'm interested, like we've talked about this just in our Discord, but how they're definitely using some Trumpian elements with
Yeah,
Fisk. It's not a full on like it's not the same as like The Boys where it's like I mean The Boys is satire, so like it makes sense that it's so one to one and like over the top of things. But I don't even think it's like, okay, we're gonna make Fisk Trump. Instead, they're just pulling certain aspects of controversial figures like Trump and putting it with Fisk. And I think I think that's been done pretty well. Um, and the sense I get, like they have that meeting of like, hey, I won't get in your business. And like you're not going to get in mine. But then they
stay
both are
in
like,
your lane.
unless, yeah, like stay in your lane. And if you don't, like we're coming after each other. Um, but I feel like I don't know. It's kind of like it's like uneven, which makes for good tension. Like Daredevil or Matt Murdock staying in his lane gives Fisk way more like leverage and like that's not the right word, way more like ability to do bad things than Fisk staying in his lane allows for Daredevil to do good things. You know what I mean? Like it's like a very uneven trade, I'd say, which I think
Yeah.
makes for
Yeah.
good television.
Hmm.
And I don't know, it's I think they hit that chord of like the injustice of Fisk pretending he's like going for vigilantes because it's lawless and like I'm finally going to clean up the city by going after vigilantes when like clearly it's just because his hatred for Daredevil is stopping him in all his schemes. So I think they've done that well to make that uh like frustration in a good way in a plot line.
Fisk doesn't want to be mayor just to go after vigilantes, or like what is
No,
his
no, no,
motivation
no.
to be what is his motivation to be mayor? Like
I
is
think he
like is
wants
it
power first and
but he
foremost.
but he had power as like the leader of the mobs
Well,
I
in
he
New
was
think
York,
almost
and
killed.
I think he genuinely does like want to better the city and kind of be seen as like the
Yeah.
good guy. Um, but I think ultimately what we'll find out this season is he can't really stick to the morals that he sets out to accomplish his goals.
Yeah,
So,
I think that's really well said. I think he does mostly just want power, but he views himself as someone who will do good with that power and overlooks all the bad he does with it. Like I think even in like the Netflix series, that was the main reason why he was becoming the kingpin was because there's like it was crazy with all these rival gangs going on and he was going to bring order to it so there'd be less chaos. Like that's always kind of been his at least
Mm.
this version of Fisk's motivation is to like, no, I'm doing something good when really he's just feeding into his own like lust for power.
Okay.
Um,
So it's
and
a justification, and being a public figure that people have elected is like an ultimate justification to, now I can do what I want because all these people voted for me, and like in
mhm.
some ways, yeah, it's kind of a good thing. But
And I think
yeah.
like Ryan said, it's how he views himself, how he wants to like it's like how he wants to be. And so he's like, no, I am being a good guy by doing this.
and
Um,
I think it's going to be very evident in his treatment of Vanessa's, I guess, I guess, Adam, who she cheated on him with. I think the old Fisk would have just killed him because he couldn't take
yeah.
that type of infidelity. But he's turned over a new leaf. I mean, I think later on in the season, he's gonna get frustrated and probably kill or maim or do something to this Adam guy that he's promised he wouldn't.
Yeah, which guy is that? Is he like actually a character that we've seen so far, or just off screen?
I don't remember him from the previous seasons of Daredevil.
I think this is either something that happened. Was this something that happened in Hawkeye? I think it was. This
Was
got a big
Vanessa
role in
was
Hawkeye.
Vanessa in Hawkeye?
It's been so long. I watched it right when it
Yeah.
came out, and it obviously didn't
Yeah.
stick a ton. But
Hopefully people are not watching this for any kind of like plot
yeah,
accuracy on any of
yeah,
these Marvel shows.
we're not experts on the Marvel continuity here at all.
The
We're just
the
having a good time.
one of the frustrations I've had so far in this show is a very common trope in like superhero movies, which is like, do you need to wear the mask? And I feel like it's been explored in the previous seasons of
Yeah.
Daredevil where he's like meeting with the priest at confessional. It's like, this is a violent, bad part of me. And like ultimately he comes to the conclusion that like Hell's Kitchen, the city needs Daredevil. At least that's my
Mhm.
recollection of it. And it seems like he's going through this same kind of debate, like internal battle where he's like, oh, I can do like more good without Daredevil than with him. And I think it's a little frustrating sometimes as a viewer to like constantly go through this thing. You're like, I just want you to get over this so you can go back to being Daredevil and doing the cool stuff again, you
Well,
know?
especially because as a viewer, we know that he's going
Yeah,
to. Like,
Hmm.
yeah.
when is any hero story end up with them saying, actually, no, I'm not going to be the hero anymore. I'm just going to be a regular person.
Yeah,
It,
like
there,
it's great to see you as a lawyer doing good as a lawyer, but I don't want to watch Law and Order here.
yeah, I wonder. It's been so long since I've watched the other seasons that when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, that was like the when they introduced the Punisher. That was like the huge, like, what's the dang? I'm so bad at remembering words. Foil. Like the Punisher was like the foil to the
Uh,
Daredevil, where you know what I mean. Like he's doing like they have the same motivations, but like the Punisher is like what he doesn't want to be. You know what I mean? Like he's crossed the lines that he's set, and he's like, oh, he's
yeah.
tiptoeing those lines. Anyways, it's been so long that I didn't notice the like repetition of storyline. And do you think part of it is like, is it just bad writing that they're like, yeah, we're gonna do this again, or is it like this is its own series now, so we're gonna hit these same beats so people get the same Daredevil feel? I don't know.
I think it's
I think you're
just
right. Like, oh, go ahead.
I think it's hard to explore heroes in interesting ways. It's because it's like Batman, same thing, where in the sense
Mhm.
that he doesn't kill people, and Spider-Man too, and I guess like most superheroes, like
Other
good
than
heroes,
aliens, they
yeah,
kill
don't
aliens all the time.
yeah, well, they're not human, so it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
So I think it maybe it's a little bit lazy.
Yeah.
It's hard to find interesting ways to explore like superheroes like secret identity and their real identity, or I mean their superhero identity in interesting ways.
Like, I think it
Mm.
would be more interesting if they focus more on Foggy's death as the motivation to give it up. Like, they killed Foggy because of my connection to him. So I'm putting down, like, I'm not going to be Daredevil anymore because I don't like the mask isn't working. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh,
rather
Isn't that
than,
isn't that kind of the conclusion he came to though?
I thought it's to me, it's come across more as I was so upset by Foggy dying that I tried to kill um, Bullseye. And so
Oh, okay,
I
yeah,
see it more
I
as
guess
like I
that's
crossed
true.
that line that I wasn't supposed to cross, so I'm not worthy of doing this anymore.
in the
Um,
moment, it definitely seemed like that when, like, after he'd thrown him off
Yeah.
and he tossed the mask down and everything.
he
And
says
now
something like, I crossed the line to the his like fixer guy.
no, I thought he
Yeah.
said that to Wilson Fisk. Oh wait.
Maybe to Fisk as well. But um but yeah, I think that would be more interesting, like you're saying, which and that's another thing that's been explored a lot, but I think it's more, I don't know. To Steven's point, like we know he's going to be Daredevil again. Like so
Yeah,
like the tension is like false.
how many episodes is it gonna take to get back to that?
I think episode 3, after Hector dies, the White Tiger is called, like that's gonna
You think
swing them
that's the
back to,
catalyst?
yeah, I mean, like those were some good moments where Hector was in his cell, like talking to him
Yeah.
about how White Tiger is who he is and he's got to protect people and
Yeah.
I think that struck a chord with Matt Murdock and him dying after I mean, first of all, that's gonna really make him mad after the big win that they had and everything, and then to have this vigilante killed, and then like he's gonna connect that to Fisk, obviously, and then from there, like this is gonna be the beginning of the spiral back into more Daredevil action.
Yeah, I see the next episode being him hunting down Frank Castle, thinking that
Mm.
he killed him. Um,
So, do you think that all of these cops with the tattoo are they all linked back to Fisk or Vanessa?
well, it's weird because Vanessa basically runs Fisk's old organization. So I think ultimately they answered if if they are part of that organization, they answer to her, but would answer to him as well. You know, I think there's going to be some, I think that's going to be some tension between Vanessa and Fisk because he's going to feel like he needs to get involved more again, and it's going to become like a power struggle. But I don't know if all of them are. Like, it seems like the Punisher thing became its own, like grew out of its own stuff. Like maybe it's controlled by Vanessa slash Fisk now, but the fact that
Mm.
they're inspired by the Punisher makes me think that it was its own like movement outside of that, you know?
Yeah, I could see it as just naturally happening from whatever thing is going on. Like Fisk or Vanessa didn't necessarily put out a hit on White Tiger, but the natural result of all the cops that were in the courtroom and like all the coverage that the case got led to him being killed.
I feel like Fisk did put out a hit though. Like when he's in that interview,
Okay.
he's saying like I'm he basically says I need to do something about this injustice of him coming off free. But I to your point, I do think that whole like movement and sentiment was just naturally occurring. I think
Mm.
something like Watchmen explores in a good way the idea that like if you do live in a society where you accept that there can be some heroes that are vigilantes, like where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Like at what point, if everyone can be a vigilante, then it leads to anarchy. So like where, and that's basically, it seems like these cops are using the Punisher ideology as a way to um, act outside their legal authority. You know, like if I weren't constrained by the laws, then I could do this good. Like that's how they feel. So then they like take on um that role. But um
Yeah, I don't
yeah.
think it's, I mean, I know you guys have said this. I don't think that's the Punisher because that's definitely not the Punisher's MO is like just kill another vigilante, especially one who was represented by Charlie Cox and
Yeah.
you know, proved not guilty or at least in the court.
Yeah, it'd be
So,
different if he would have had to had like been accused of something completely different for the Punisher to really involve himself.
mhm.
Um
If I'm remembering right, he mostly just got involved for personal wrongs to him, right?
yeah, it was like so his family was killed in an alleged like gang war, and so he went through killing the people involved with that, but then it grew into just he's killing all of the like the gangs in New York because they're all like part of the same thing.
Mm.
Um
So he ended up being like that character in Midnight Tides who just has like a free pass to, you know what I'm talking about? I was reviewing Midnight Tides and reading Reaper's Gale.
oh yeah. The wait, or is this the guy in Reaper's Gale?
No, he's in Midnight Tides because he's only in that book.
Maybe I'm not sure exactly who you're talking about then, because there's a guy
Yeah.
similar, carte blanche in Reaper's Gale, seemingly, but
Yeah. Yeah, if you weren't entertained by our Marvel plot threads, then tune in for our Malazan plot threads.
is it the guy who's investigating Tehol and his brothers?
Yeah,
Yeah, that guy. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, this dude just gets like a free pass to kill as many people in
Oh,
And
he's like the empire's like executioner, basically.
yeah, he
Yeah.
stages this thing where he like saves the prince or something, and then
Yeah, and then
as a
he gets
reward
yeah.
gets to kill as many people. Ryan, it's
Yeah.
been so long for you with Malzahn. Do you have any idea what we're talking about?
I kind of forgot
No,
Ryan's
I
read
do remember.
Malzahn.
I do remember Tehol and Bug.
They're
Yeah,
great. Um,
yeah.
but yeah, I'm hoping we
Teaser
get
for
to
upcoming
see
episode. Yeah.
I hope we get to see Frank Castle in the next episode. He's one of my favorite actors. Like anything he's in, I'm like down to watch. And
So he was John Bernthal
Bernthal, yeah.
was confirmed for the show. Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen shots of like from the show, like a still frame of him and Charlie Cox together, like on set, like a scene from the show. Um,
Hmm.
What other show was he in recently?
he's in The Bear. He's Mikey in The Bear.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking
Um,
of.
yeah, which that was my pitch to get Emily to watch Daredevil. I was like, Mikey's in it. No, no dice, but
Uh, Too violent.
I saw a
yeah,
funny
it's not her
clip.
vibe at all.
I saw a funny clip of the actress who plays Karen explaining the
D&D,
concept of D&D to John
Oh yeah.
Bernthal.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
Do
one
they
of us
play
shared that in
together?
our. I don't know,
I don't
but
think he
it was,
plays. Like based on that interview, it doesn't seem like he plays,
yeah.
but
Maybe he
she
does
plays a
after
ton.
she gave a good answer, so maybe he does now.
Yeah, that would have been cool if
Maybe.
they continued the series, you know.
Yeah. She like she's done some like charity D&D things before. I think she did one, I could be conflating, but I think she was on a like one shot with Patrick Rothfuss or something like that.
Oh,
Like
really?
some
Hmm.
celebrity D&D game where it was like a charity stream or something.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, anything, I mean, other things we talked about just amongst ourselves that I think are I think are just like funny takes. I was for sure I thought at the end of episode 2 that he had killed those cops. Like I thought that was going to be episode 3 is going to be how is he going to explain this away? Like is this going to make his witness look more guilty and like give them more justification to go arrest the witness and like and or kill
Yeah.
him? But that was just kind of like washed under the rug. And
Yeah.
like I didn't realize that that was the same guy in the bathroom in episode 3 until you said that, Ryan. And then I like rewatched it to like confirm. And then I rewatched the whole fight scene. And I was like, yeah, that was just as violent as I remembered it. Like, I can't, I never would have thought these people would be like around to
Yeah.
do anything, let alone speak at a trial.
Well, I watched those two episodes and then a week passed and then episode three, right? So we had to wait for between two and three. And yeah, after episode two, I was like, oh crap, like this is a terrible situation we're in here
Yeah.
now. But it turns out that didn't matter at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some like, I don't know.
Just it just
I
seemed
was
like
just
it
like,
was kind of like end of episode bait almost like for
yeah.
watchers.
Yeah. And like the way he ended it, like he was like so like pissed at the end, where it was like, he
Yeah.
crossed that line again,
Yeah. Yeah, right.
like not that he was like, I'm gonna kill these people, but like got too caught up. Like I thought that was gonna play more into like, I no, I can't, like kind of like an addiction thing where it's like, I can't do this, but then he like breaks and all of a sudden like splurges in the violence and then
I
like tries harder and splurges more.
I think it does kind of play into the fact that, he like needs Daredevil, right? He can't just do it
Yeah.
all being a lawyer.
Well, the other thing, yeah, and I agree. And um I also thought maybe he would be targeted by Fisk over it. And Josh in our Discord had mentioned that he wasn't really acting as Daredevil in the fact that like he wasn't seeking out being a vigilante. Like he was just being a lawyer, like doing his lawyer duties, but that like violent side of him was necessary to your point. Um, but how I don't understand how he got away with it. They're like, dude, you're blind. How are you fighting like
Yeah.
this? Like I feel like this is should have been like way bigger repercussions than like I'm mad at you for obfuscating an investigation for
Yeah.
obstructing an investigation. Obfuscating.
I guess they can't
Um,
admit, that they were there because why were they there if they didn't know the guy? Why were they at his apartment?
I mean, they could have come up with some BS reason to
Yeah,
like,
they could have like started following him around or something, or
or like there was a domestic or like some call, like people worried that some fighting was happening in there, and they could have penned like, oh, that guy disappeared, like maybe um Matt Murdock killed him too, or like I feel like they,
but yeah,
I don't
but
know, he
just
like
saying,
compound
just
fractured that guy's arm
yeah,
and like slammed the guy
well,
on his head and he just had a
on his
black eye.
neck, like yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like,
I guess some time passed, probably, right? Because now the trial has started, so who knows how much time has
yeah, it's all
passed.
compressed timeline, but
Hence the only black eye, and he's like his knuckles are just kind of slightly bruised still. So I guess that's fine. But
still,
in the
like,
bathroom, that conversation where he's just like, "Oh yeah, you're blind and you can fight. That's interesting."
yeah, like that should have been like, yeah.
I took that as he was implying that he's not actually blind. He's like,
I
"Oh,
think,
you're
yeah, I
not a."
think yeah, I think he was questioning that. But
Hmm.
I feel like he should have like, it should have been more than just like, I don't think you're blind. Like, I don't know. That's little,
See,
little,
yeah,
little breaking the suspension of disbelief for me. But I
yeah,
thought,
yeah. The whole thing
other than
was a
that,
little
I thought
awkward.
episode three was pretty good. Like, I thought the trial had some good intensity. A little cheesy when he like out of nowhere pulls out the white tiger mask, but and that we talked about this too. The mystical amulet. Whenever he says mystical amulet, like I know we are in the Marvel universe. Like there is magic. People know there's magic. People are aware of all these things. But just for how grounded the show is, otherwise, like it's like, man, I don't know what they could have said differently, but like when he was like, he didn't have his mystical amulet, so he had no powers. Like it just didn't sound
Maybe
good.
just the word mystical sounds weird.
Maybe amulet, I mean, yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
But
it just goes to show like I feel like there is a tone difference between this one and the previous Daredevil seasons. There certainly was supernatural elements with the hand and Elektra in the previous seasons, but it just felt like a little bit more gritty and a little bit more real. Like
yeah,
like this could be happening. Um, and the fact that there's now vigilantes like with mystical amulets that are like using magical powers. Whereas, in the past it's like Daredevil and Fisk duking it out, and they both have like pretty superhuman abilities, but I mean, it still felt real almost.
yeah. Like the supernatural stuff in Daredevil to me felt more like spooky. Like when it was supernatural, it was more almost like uh I don't know. Like the whole
Like
like
people coming back from being dead.
in like some sort of like ritual way. You know what I mean? Like it felt like uh more occult than just like I don't know, regular magic.
Mhm.
I know nothing about the White Tiger character, what his powers are. They mentioned super strength, but like thinking about it now, like if he could have died from a gunshot this whole time, like should he really have been a vigilante? Like how has he not died up until this point?
I
Well,
mean,
couldn't,
Daredevil could die from a
yeah,
gunshot, right?
yeah.
Daredevil has the bulletproof helmet, and he's got all like the padding, like the he's got. I mean, he got lit up with all those knives, but I mean, a big part of season one was him getting like this really good suit because he almost died so many times, and
I
like
mean,
that's how
maybe
he survives.
that's why Daredevil has a TV show and White Tiger doesn't.
Maybe, but I was just thinking like I don't know, maybe White Tiger was only doing the kind of stuff like saving people from fire or I don't know, but like that was a really good way to end the episode, though. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to be critical. Like the
Did you
juxtaposition
guys
of feeling the
did you,
elation of him being innocent to
yeah, yeah. Did you think something bad was going to happen at the end of that episode?
I thought he wasn't going to get out of the courtroom alive.
that's what I thought
Um,
too. Yeah.
but I for sure knew something bad was going to happen. I didn't know it was going to happen to White Tiger, but yeah.
I didn't know anything. after he like escaped all the courtroom stuff, I had no suspicions that White Tiger would be like in danger at all. I thought maybe he might be arrested at the end. Like that was the thing I thought like, dude, why are you going out right away to do this? And I know they talked to like he has to do it, like that's part of his character. But I was like, man, this is so dumb. You
Yeah.
just got off of this court case. Everybody knows who you are. Like you're wearing this mask. It doesn't even matter. Everyone knows who you are, so they're just gonna arrest you. But
Yeah.
I was not expecting anything like that we saw.
I was thinking something about it happened, but like Ryan said, I didn't really know when.
Hmm.
Yeah, I thought it was well done. And
Yeah.
I mean, kind of a shame that I felt like he was maybe the best side character so far in the
He
show.
did a really good job. That actor,
And
like, and
yeah,
like the writing for his character was really well done.
yeah. Actually,
And
my
rest in
my
peace.
yeah, my brother told me he died. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, really? The actor did.
It was
Wow.
it was the episode was dedicated to him, and so I
I
looked it
didn't
up,
notice
and
that.
he passed away from cancer,
Oh man.
which
Is he?
he seems very similar to the Black Panther in that way.
Yeah.
Mm.
Man, that's a downer. I didn't know that. Um,
Good final performance.
Rest in peace,
yeah,
Kamar
rest in
de
peace for
los
sure.
Reyes.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah. It was a really well written character.
Great acting.
Other side characters that I'm interested to see where this BB thing goes. Hopefully more than just like be real in between the main show.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of it so
Um,
far. But I guess Fisk is intrigued, so something will happen.
I, yeah, I think Fisk is intrigued as a way, to Ryan's point, I think he does view himself as like someone to be a mentor towards other people because he sees himself as better than he is. And he's mentioned he's tried to be a mentor before. Um, and then also I think he's just intrigued by this new form of media, kind of like that other guy who was part of his campaign
Oh
team who was
yeah,
like unorthodox, like
the pasty guy.
the Pacey guy who was, I think Vanessa hired him on there, but
Yeah.
yeah, another, yeah,
He probably just sees it as a way to tell his story to like get a direct line of communication that a lot of
yeah,
people are seeing. Yeah.
yeah. I think he sees the potential there to like utilize that to his
Hmm.
advantage. Do you think Vanessa and Fisk are going to survive? Their marriage is going to survive this season?
Hmm.
Like I said, I kind of think that Fisk is gonna do something to Adam after he promised that he wouldn't. Although maybe that's gonna turn him back to kind of the dark side, which Vanessa liked about him. So maybe he ends up killing Adam. Vanessa is like, "Oh, I don't like that you
Finally,
did
you're
that,
back.
but I like that the Wilson Fisk that I fell in love with is back."
Yeah, it's interesting. She feels so different as a character. Their relationship is so different from like the Daredevil show because she was like his biggest weakness. He did everything for her. And I- at one point, was she leaving him? I thought she was at some point. Man, it's been so long.
Might have. I mean, he was in jail for a while, and then he came back, and I think that probably
But I
rocked the
mean,
boat a little bit.
le leaving him, at one point, I think she was leaving him because she was scared of him, like for her own safety or something. Um,
Yeah, that sounds about right. But then she kind of also embraced the dark side.
was that in season three or was that in Hawkeye? I don't remember. Maybe
Seems like
season
season.
three.
Seems like season three.
Doesn't Daredevil like almost kill Fisk in his home
Yeah, I
in season three?
think that's the end of season three.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's in
yeah,
the big white suit, and they're like eating dinner.
yeah.
But
In their
yeah,
fancy place. Yeah.
yeah. It's all coming back now.
There are a lot of scenes of
Um,
Fisk eating food.
He's a big guy.
he's thinned down.
He has thinned down a little bit. He's getting older too.
He's lost
Yeah.
weight, put on muscle.
I think he was wearing like a larger suit for the Netflix series. I think he always, and I think now he's not. And I think that's
Hmm.
the difference.
Yeah, my brother told me there was some, my younger brother's a big Marvel fan, so he was telling me there was some criticism over the size, but then he gets bigger as the season goes on for some reason. But I don't know if that doesn't really make sense to me, but
In this
we'll have to
season or
see.
in
Like, yeah,
Daredevil?
in this season, like as the episode, like I don't know, he's able
Hmm.
to look larger. He gains weight, something. I don't know.
Hmm.
Maybe this is just
Do you think
internet.
he'll get as big as the Fisk from Into the Spider-Verse?
No.
No.
I when I think of that, I just think of like this huge guy and his head is in the middle of his chest.
Yeah, it's like right here, and it's just like this, like
Yeah.
shoulder muscles all over.
Yeah.
Do you guys think anyone else from the Netflix shows are going to show up? Like Punisher, Punisher had his own show, but he was really a Daredevil character first from these TV shows. But do you
Oh,
think
you
Luke
mean like
Cage, Jessica
Luke Cage is
Jones, Iron Fist?
I don't think any of
no.
those. I saw a video with the actress who plays Jessica Jones, and she was like, if they wanted me to come back, I would come back.
How
And
long ago was that? Was that like pretty recent?
I don't know. I'll need to go back and look. I think it was after they announced that the original cast was coming back. So I'm not sure. Did they announce that within the last year or 2 years?
Something like that. I've seen rumors in the last month or so that Netflix or Marvel is interested in bringing back Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and even Iron Fist. But
Oh, why Iron Fist?
I
I don't
liked
know.
season one of Iron Fist. Call me
I
crazy,
I
but
liked parts of it. I thought it had some low lows, but I thought it had some good highs. I loved Faramir's character's arc. I thought that was really
yeah,
cool.
Faramir. I love the music from
I don't
Iron
remember
Fist
the
season
music.
one.
I don't remember music.
Oh, it was all like retro music from his childhood, right?
It was a lot of like rap that I like 90s rap
Uh,
that I had never
Yeah.
heard before that was really cool.
I just
Um,
remember thinking that Renly Baratheon was lame, but the main girl was really cool. Whatever
yeah,
her whatever her name was.
it was definitely the weakest of all of them. Uh, I think I liked yeah, I don't know. I'd have to rethink that.
But
But
yeah, to go back to your
anyways,
question, I
I'd
don't.
heard rumors they are bringing them back, and I didn't know if that meant they'd have cameos in the show or just they would
Uh,
revive their shows in some capacity.
I just don't know why. Like it's been so long, and it just feels like it would really clutter up the show if we're just adding in these random characters that people have kind of forgot it. I mean, it's been almost 10 years for some of these
I
shows.
I think the reason to do it is if they do have plans to then like if they need more shows to have or they need more characters in movies or other shows, it's a good way to just introduce them. Where like a way they could do it is if they want Jessica Jones to be big in a movie or a show later on, have her like have Matt hire her as a PI for like one thing, like they did in the Netflix shows. Like they'd have these like one-off
Okay.
cameos, like something like that, just to like the same way he was like in No Way Home.
Just to
It's just
keep them relevant for a little bit.
like yeah, hey, this character is here. We have plans for them. So like they could do something like that. To your point, I don't think there's enough space in this season to have them all in there, but I wonder if we'll see somebody or if I don't know. I had to rewatch Defenders. I remember that also being hit or miss as well.
Well,
Yeah, it definitely was.
it's been yeah, clearly our memories of the actual plots are not quite there, but a lot of nostalgia points. Just watching the show, hearing the music, the opening sequence is still really similar to what it was before. Like I'm just loving all the vibes, and I mean, this is in my mind like what superhero TV show, like certainly the best Marvel small screen show, Daredevil. I, I mean, I don't
I
know if
really
I'm gonna make a distinction between Born Again and original Daredevil,
yeah,
but
just Daredevil in
yeah,
general.
yeah, best small screen property for Marvel.
Yeah, I really liked WandaVision. I thought that was, but yeah, probably Daredevil's better than that. Yeah, I feel like they went downhill in quality pretty fast, all the Disney ones.
Yeah.
But
But I mean, this is even up there with other acclaimed superhero TV shows. Like, I mean, The Boys is pretty good. Certainly not perfect, but like I'd put Daredevil up there with that for sure.
yeah, I think so. Very different. It feels like the budget was a lot smaller for Daredevil, and it still maintained it feels like they had a small budget they knew how to utilize wisely and
Mhm.
maximize to best production effects.
Yeah.
But
Cool. I guess like what are we looking for in the next six? I'm pretty sure it's 9 episodes. I want to say it's nine. Could be wrong. But like what would at the end of the season, what would mean it's a hit for you guys? Like, is there something we need to see? Is there just some like vibes we need to maintain? What are we looking for?
I
I would
think they
like to
need to nail
see.
the conflict between Matt Murdock, Wilson Fisk. I think that they need to have really cool choreographed action scenes in order to, I think, keep that
Yeah.
relevant, like keep it relevant from the previous. Like that's just what kind of one of the things that made the previous Daredevil so good. And so if they want to continue that, it's necessary for me.
Yeah, I think that they need to utilize this whole born again thing really well. Like, I think it's talking about Matt Murdock as much as it's talking about Fisk, and I think they need to slide back into their old ways in a well executed way. Like, it can't just be, to your point, Ryan. Like, I don't want it to just be kind of a repeat of past superhero stories and past Daredevil stories. I would love to see them actually utilize Karen more. And then I want there to be like, for that born again thing, I want there to be like an impactful defining thing that happens where Matt like realizes I can't just be a lawyer, and I want it to be more than just like I am Daredevil. I can't not be Daredevil. Like, it needs to be something more than that. And
Mm.
ideally, I would like to see this show somehow cement him as a larger character in the MCU. Like, I'd like this show to be transitionary in that way for as many characters, good characters as possible from the show. Like, I'd like to see this grow from just being like, if they're bringing
Mm.
this into the MCU continuity officially, I'd like to like have them like actually use this as a launching pad. But
See, you want to
see,
see Matt Murdock really jump into some like movies, some MCU movies. I mean, I know we
yeah, like
saw him in No Way Home, but like, do you think that there's a possibility that they could do that?
yeah, and to me, it's like I think Daredevil season 3 was a fine conclusion to his arc, and like if they're gonna bring him back, and if they're going to like I said, bring him into the MCU continuity, like capitalize on that. I'd rather do that than just have these like one-off seasons for him. But
See, for me, I think that I would be totally happy if Daredevil stays independent from most other MCU. In my mind, just with Netflix, like the original Daredevil movie was before the MCU, with Ben Affleck and Jennifer Garner. And then this TV show was Netflix, independent from Disney's, what Disney had going on. It's always kind of been independent in my mind. I know that there have been like some small attempts to integrate it, but I mean, I might honestly be happier if it just stays its own thing.
really, you just think it might
Yeah.
get ruined if they try to go too big?
I kind of think there's a chance of that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's just hard seeing like Daredevil, Charlie Cox, Matt Murdock fit in with, the other
Yeah.
superheroes. And maybe
Like
that's because of
all
the
of a sudden
tone
Daredevil's
difference.
saving the world. Like it
I
kind of
don't think
feels
I
off. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not imagining that. And like he doesn't have to have like he doesn't have to be in like a save the world movie situation, but like if Spider-Man is now the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, just focused on New York, like it would be awesome to have him and Daredevil team up for some part of
Mm.
either a high quality TV show or that continues Spider-Man continuity as well as as well as Daredevil's, or
Okay.
have him be in like a part of a Spider-Man movie, where like instead of like
Within the parameters of Daredevil making sense in New York,
yeah,
like he could
exactly.
show
Yeah.
up in a
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Or if they'd want to like lean into and make the defenders more important somehow,
Yeah. Yeah.
like go in that type of direction. Like these like I don't want to call him B tier, but like I don't know, he does have like some pretty crazy powers. Like he basically has spider sense. I don't know. It doesn't
Yeah.
seem that way in the show. Like he has just enough to survive and that's it. But
Cool. Well, if you like what we're doing at Phantology, you can join our Discord. The invites are in the episode description below. Talk about Daredevil, talk about the Wheel of Time TV show, which is premiering tonight, actually. So we probably need to get on that, season 3, or talk about any fantasy, science fiction books, whatever. You can find that in the episode description below. So, Residents of Hell's Kitchen, good luck. Hopefully Daredevil comes back around to save you from Fisk because things are not looking great right now. And we'll see you later.
yeah.
Unless you voted for Fisk and then things are really looking up.